All right, what's going on YouTube? This is BoxingWave. So this weekend on the Zone, we got Roman Gonzalez against Julio Cesar Martinez. All right, Martinez is going to be replacing Juan Francisco Estrada, who had COVID, couldn't really prepare right for the fight, and Martinez is going to be replacing him. And this is an incredible replacement. This is a fight that I've spoken about in the past in lives and stuff. So some of you may already know how I feel about how this fight is gonna go, but I'm gonna break it down anyway. Okay. Like I said, this fight is gonna be on the Zone, and this is a great stylistic matchup between the two. Martinez, very explosive, has a lot of power. Likes to brawl, likes to exchange, likes to trade, and Roman Gonzalez can do all of that. Much more highly technical pressure fighter. All right, one of the more recent pound for pound fighters, and already a future Hall of Famer, legend, and all of that. All right, so let's speak on it. Now, recently we had a fight between Jesse Ben Rodriguez. All right, he was a replacement for Sora Rungvisai, and he fought Carlos Carjas, who's one of the top dogs at 115, and he's been that way for years. He's been in there with an Estrada, and he's been in there with Roman Gonzalez, and he was in there with Sora Rungvisai. They were supposed to have their rematch. So all of these guys have been in the ring together for years, and Jesse Rodriguez, just like Julio Cesar Martinez, it's the young bucks coming up. They're going up from 112 to 115, and they're trying to take over and clean out these older guys that's been around. All right, and Jesse was very successful in his fight against Carlos Cuadras. A very great performance by him. But Jesse Vargas, I'm sorry, not Jesse Vargas, but Jesse Rodriguez is different from Julio Cesar Martinez. A big difference. I don't think Martinez is as nearly as technically sound as a Ben Rodriguez is, but he's very explosive, and he's a big knockout puncher. And it's like I said, this fight here has all the ingredients to be an action-packed fight. And most of these fights in these divisions are action-packed. These smaller guys, they give it their all. They throw a lot of punches, and they're always fun fights. All right. So going into this fight here, I feel like there was it was when it was announced, I was happy. I was upset because I wanted to see the trilogy. I personally believe that Roman Gonzalez clearly won the rematch between him and Estrada. All right. But a trilogy, it makes sense, and, Roman won the original fight. Estrada won the second fight, and getting the third, I'm not mad at that. Estrada's an elite fighter. Roman Gonzalez is an elite fighter. I was cool with it. But when I heard about this replacement, I was very happy too, because Martinez has been on a run, a nice run. We've been watching and been covering his fights for the past couple, 2-3 years. He's always on the undercards of good fights, and he's fun to fight. He's a fun fighter to watch. And Roman Gonzalez, he's been around. We all know about him and what he can do. This is a former pound for pound type of fighter, and I still think he's still in that area wherever you have him at. All right. So quick breakdown. I guess we could start off with Julio Cesar Martinez. What I see in him, for the most part, he's a brawler, not real technical. Okay, comes in, walks straight in with that high guard, and likes to counter. All right, and ambush. He's a complete ambush fighter, brawler type. Throws 2-3 punch combinations all the time. All right, not a defensive fighter by any means. He could slip some shots here and there, but not much head movement, not much upper body movement. We might get some feints when he's coming straight in, because he comes straight in. Might get some feints for him, all right? But he likes to counter, but he leaves himself open because he likes to ambush you. Most guys like Arroyo, who fought him last, tries to catch him, in between the punches. That's what he's good at doing. Or that's at least that's a weakness of his. But he likes to explode and try to ambush you, and he just keeps that high guard, walks in straight in with it. Roman Gonzalez keeps a high guard, but it's a little different with him. You know, he moves his upper body, he moves his head a lot, he uses a lot more angles, you know, so when he's keeping that, he's leaning in. His body is not as exposed. He's not standing straight up like Martinez. So it's two totally different ways that they fight. Two completely different ways that they fight. Plus, Martinez throws wide shots most of the time. You know, he's not throwing straight shots. He's usually looping, throwing combinations when he ambushes you. So he likes to just walk in, feint here and there, and counter. You know, whatever you touch in his gloves, he's looking to counter and ambush you right after. All right. Loves to brawl. You know, if you are willing to engage with him, he loves it. All right. That's where he leaves himself completely open. But because of his power, he's usually overwhelming whoever he's fighting. You know, and once you get into that kind of fight with him, it's like 50-50 with him. You know what I'm saying? If you have the ability to outbox him, do it. But they get so overwhelmed. These fighters that's been in there with him, they get so overwhelmed by the amount of punches that he's throwing and the power that he has. Martinez always takes over. Even if he gets dropped or even if he's getting touched up, peached up a lot, he's always the last man standing. He's 18-1. Lost a really early fight way before I was even watching him. Didn't even see that loss. But since then, yes, he's struggled at certain fights. Yes, he's been down. Yes, he's been rocked. But he's usually the guy that's coming straight forward. He has a good enough chin to be able to bang with the guys that he's banged with. But Roman Gonzalez is on a totally different level. Like, you know, this guy is, again, one of the most technically sound pressure fighters that's out there. All right, he throws a lot of punches, but with caution, you know, with great timing. All right, he can trade and he can bang too, but he's a little bit more selective with his shots, and plus he has a greater punch selection overall. You know, he can also ambush you, and I think that's part of what he needs to do in order to win this fight against Julio Cesar Martinez, because Martinez is a guy that wants that to engage and wants to trade, but Roman got to do it a little bit more smart. When I've watched Roman Gonzalez fight over the years, he's like a guy, you know how they like to say about like Lomachenko. Like Lomachenko likes to start out and download information. So Lomachenko, first couple rounds, he's just kind of filling you out. You know, he's stepping in, but he's not doing anything. He might throw something light here and there, but he's basically trying to see what you got. All right. That's how Roman Gonzalez typically starts off the fight. You know, he might come in round one, first 2 minutes, he's just leaning in. He's getting in. Maybe he might touch you here and there, but he wants to feel your power. He wants to see what you got. Where are you throwing the punches? How does it feel? What angles? You know, what are you throwing at him? He wants to see what you got. And as soon as you throw the punch 2-3 times, he starts to become familiar with it. That's when he starts to counter. All right. And then he goes back into his defensive shell. Doesn't stay in. He moves really well. He pivots really well. You know, he's great at pressure. I mean, listen, even if you move and you use a lot of lateral movement, he knows how to cut the ring off pretty well too. He's pretty good on his feet. So I think what we're going to get in this fight is, we know that Martinez likes to throw looping shots. Doesn't throw many straight down the middle, but even those guys that he like to ambush, even when they try to tighten up, he's throwing it right around the guard. You know, might throw you an uppercut in between the guard from here and there, time to time, but he has to have you. He's an ambush fighter. You know, he's just not going to be using the jab to set up something big. All right. He likes to just explode, counter, and explode every single time. It's like the same thing over and over again, where Roman Gonzalez is going to slowly pick you apart. All right. While he's always going to keep moving. He's always moving his head. All right. Plus, he can slip and counter as well. He can pretty much do every single thing. Julio Cesar Martinez, Yes, he can switch hit and everything, but he's not as effective with it. When he switches, he's giving you different looks, but it's not really deep when he goes into a southpaw. He's an orthodox fighter, but he can switch, go southpaw a little bit to give you some different looks, but at the same time, he's still doing the same thing. He's still just looking to ambush you every single time, and he leaves himself exposed a lot. Again, he doesn't have the greatest defense. He's always standing straight up. All right, he doesn't have like a wide stance. He doesn't like change levels a lot. He doesn't get low. The only time he's moving his head is when he's slipping to counter a shot. But overall, he's not giving you much different, even when he goes into as a southpaw. So, with that, all that being said, I think that Roman Gonzalez beats him. All right. I know he's getting older. He's 34. Julio Cesar Martinez is only 27. You know, I know that, yes, he's probably in the later stages in the last years of his career, but he's still throwing a whole lot of punches in his fight. You know, he still has power. He still has great boxing ability. He still looks very, very good. You know, even if he lost a step, when he was in his prime was so high that Martinez, to me, as good and as fun as of a fighter as he is, Martinez would have been someone that Roman Gonzalez wouldn't have had any issues with at some point. You know, because Roman would take advantage of his defensive flaws, all right, and would have timed those explosions that he would have, all right, when he would ambush you. And I still think he's capable of doing that. I think the thing with Sauron Visai is when you look at those losses, I was watching a little bit of it before I made this video. Sauron Visai was just so powerful. You know, he was a southpaw that fought out of a southpaw stance the whole time. He's just throwing jabs and setting up the straight left hand and setting up, you know, going to the body. And he was just putting so much power down in every single shot he threw. You know, everything he threw. Roman Gonzalez, yes, he was blocking a lot of them. A lot of shots weren't landing clean, but the ones that did, it just had too much of an impact, especially the ones that went to the body. You know, and Roman couldn't do nothing. Like, that guy has Roman Gonzalez's number. But as far as everybody else, you didn't see that when Roman Gonzalez fought Estrada. Estrada could stop people too, but, you know, you didn't see that hard thud and punching power when Estrada fought Gonzalez. You know, I know Martinez is capable of stopping guys. I know he has knockout power, but for a guy that's coming up from 112 to 115, Roman has been in there with bigger punchers. You know, bigger guys, bigger punchers. And I don't think Martinez is really giving him anything. And I think I'm not trying to dismiss Martinez, because I think he has a puncher's chance for real. I think he's capable of hurting anyone. All right. But the thing with Roman Gonzalez, I think he has so much more from a boxing IQ level that Martinez is not going to be able to deal with him. And I think his lack of defense and wanting to brawl, I think Gonzalez is just going to outbox him, drop him several times, and possibly stop him, just because Martinez leaves himself so open with the way that he fights. It's worked for McWilliams, Arroyo, and some of the other fighters that he's fought. But Roman Gonzalez is just on a completely different level. I think he's even beaten McWilliams or Arroyo, who is a good boxer, but just didn't have the power and the ability to stick with that younger guy. You know, Martinez might be able to overwhelm Chocolatito. You know, I think he could catch him with a good shot and could ambush him, but he's just, Roman Gonzalez, even his defense, you know, he's just too safe. You know, he's too safe. He lets his hands go, but his shell is just on a different level from the other guys, and he knows how to move. He's just not the guy that's just gonna sit in the ropes. Right? He's gonna always move out of danger. You know, you might catch him a few times here and there, but when you ambush him, he's gonna lock up, he's gonna clam up, and he's gonna move, and he's gonna reset himself. These guys that get overwhelmed by Martinez they don't just stand there. You know, they get out of danger. They know how to make their way out. So I think Chocolatito, like I said, he's gonna catch him. He has power. He's gonna catch him with a good shot a few times, drop him a few times. It's gonna be a war. It's gonna be a great fight. I don't know how long it's gonna last, but I think it's because of Martinez's lack of defense and the fact that he comes straight in every single time without really giving you much head movement. Yes, he can slip shots here and there, but because he comes straight in and he's standing straight up, he's really there to get hit, you know, and that's why I'm leaning for Gonzalez to get the stoppage. You know, I know he's younger. I mean, he's older, but I got Gonzalez winning this one, and I think we're gonna get a trilogy down the line with him and Estrada. All right, but this is a great fight. It should be a great war. Don't miss out on it. And that's my pick. Gonzalez by, I say Gonzalez by maybe like an 8th or 9th round stoppage. All right, that's my pick. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.